happy to introduce to you our next speaker, Florian Kohl from Intertrust Technologies. And Florian will be joined by Tobias Goetz from Digikoo, and they will share a case study on digital foresight and clean energy AI.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne, and also Augustine from EURELECTRIC. It's awesome to be here. It's the first time for us, so we are super excited. And because we are like the new kids on the block, I have to give you a bit of an introduction to what we do and who we are. And I think that Rob from EPRI nailed it perfectly already. So introduction that one of the problems that we have around energy AI is that we have many different systems, many different technologies, and the data that the AI would need is dispersed and distributed across all these systems. And that is exactly the core problem that we solve with our technology. So our company is co-owned by major energy players around the world. So in total, they accumulate around 100 billion US dollars in revenue, and they are E.ON from Germany, JERA from Japan, and Origin from Australia. JERA is the newest shareholder. We just did an equity round, and this will be announced very shortly also to the press. And these shareholders have invested over the last 6 years developing technology that can solve the problem I just described, because the hypothesis and the belief is that for the transition of the energy system, it will be core that we will bring data together in a different way, in a new form, versus how it's being done today to solve some of the big challenges of the energy transition, the mobility transition, and also the heating and cooling transition. So we are a team of around 110 colleagues at the moment. Around the world, we have a big presence in the United States. We have a presence in Europe, very significantly in lovely Tallinn in Estonia, where you are coming from, and also in India and in other parts of Asia. So that's who we are. Why more energy AI and more data interoperability is needed speaks to itself. I think we have an audience here that is excellently educated in energy, and I think in a nutshell we can say, if we look to the challenges that we have on the climate side, if we look to the challenges that we have now given the war and the resulting energy crisis, and all the other things that are going on even before this crisis was present, then it's an ongoing decentralization of the energy system, which simply needs more orchestration. As we all know, energy is a funny thing. You always can only consume the same amount of energy that's being produced. And that's something I think from a systems perspective is very challenging and also very seldom. And data is actually the core source of orchestrating everything. So that's why this is relevant. I already said we solved the big problem of data interoperability, which you can split into 3 buckets. Actually, the exposure of data to different sorts of risks that people face, so legal risks, reputational risks, operational risks around data that is being made interoperable. A second area is data inefficiency. If we want to achieve this interoperability of data, then it has to be efficient, and we need efficient data operations that can deliver that. I think that's very important because I think AI and data will play a key role in the affordability of data in the future. And last but not least, also for digital growth, we need more data and we need better data. So we do this with a bunch of technologies, which I'm not going into the detail here right now, but at the end, it's software that's delivering what's needed here. So actually what we would love to introduce to you today is a case study. So E.ON, as you've seen, is one of our shareholders. And since around 2016, when this was all of part of RWE, which then over the years developed into E.ON with the different transactions that took place, And we started around 4 years ago of developing the hypotheses for the distribution grid, so for the medium and low voltage distribution grid, that some of the challenges in the grid in the next 3 to 5 years cannot be addressed and solved with the organization and way of working around data that is present in DSOs typically. So what you see with the DSO is that these are organizations which are grown for many, many decades. They have a lot of legacy systems existing. The data is hidden in many, many different databases, systems, and departments. And if you look to the mobility transition, for example, so planning the grid to make it robust for electric vehicles, then all of this data kind of needs to be together in a place. If it's not possible physically, then at least virtually, to do some of the foresight and the planning tasks. So E.ON and Intertrust, we put all our expertise around the grids and around these data technologies together. And we created something which is called Digikoo, which now has developed into an own entity that E.ON has launched and is supporting to deliver a bunch of very interesting foresight and planning services at the moment to distribution system operators around the world, but also to municipalities and other stakeholders. And I would like to hand over to my colleague, Tobias, who is working at E.ON at Digikoo, to give us a brief overview of what Digikoo is and what Digikoo does, and why it's an awesome venture to be in.
Yes, thank you, Florian. Let me give you a short introduction on Digikoo and what our solutions for this problem Florian already stated are. So as Digikoo, we support cities, municipalities, and their companies like, for example, grid operators in achieving their climate goals by showing future scenarios for the 3 big areas, which are energy, mobility, and heating transition. And all that we do with the DigiPad, which is built on and benefits heavily from the Intertrust platform. So therefore, we have everything in one platform to collect, structure, and also visualize the data. And with that, combining different data types, like, for example, public data and private data sources, like socioeconomic data and also grid data, the DigiPad enables improved planning and also decision making. So let me give you a short example on that. If, for example, a household has a garage or a parking space, there's like a high probability that an electric vehicle charging device will be installed in the future sooner than in other households which don't have like a garage or parking space. And according to such a scheme, we predict that not only where in the future may be a certain demand, but also which effects these developments could have on the grid and on the grid load, and also which actions need to be taken to don't have an overload on a certain grid area. Yes, and last but not least, Digikoo stands for Digital Cooperation, which in our opinion is a really critical part to make the energy transition possible. And we are trying to do that, to enable that by our DigiPad. And like Florian already said, being a part of E.ON, we are shaping the transition together with our partners like Intertrust, and learn from each other to make a sustainable or more sustainable world possible. That's our goal.
Thank you, Tobias. And I think what you should keep in mind is that one of the really new things here is that all of this data, it's never being transferred. It doesn't need to be copied. So it's a real, true virtual way to make benefit of data, but the data can stay where it is. It can be fully governed. So this is stuff that is really, really important. And, we ask utilities around the world to really consider this and look at this technology. because it can remove a lot of headache. And I think that also summarizes how to scale innovation. So somebody needs to make a bet on something new, and in this case, E.ON and others have done it, and then it's available for others to also benefit from that and create synergies, without taking all the risk of the upfront investment. And I think this is how energy can scale in the how innovation can scale in the energy industry in the future. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have more time for questions. Probably not.
I wondered if there's one key solution, let's say, that would help you to scale your innovation. What is it? Is it the acceptance from the DSO side? Is it a better regulatory environment? Is it trust from the clients? What would it be?
I think it's a little bit of everything you mentioned. So I think what we see in any large organizations are the so-called corporate antibodies, which is a bit of an attitude and a culture that you don't find only with DSOs or in the energy industry, but in all industry. People, they are hesitant to explore new things, to explore new approaches. They think that the new is the enemy of the existing or the projects they are working on. And I think that is something, of course, that has to be managed. It's a big blocker for innovation, given the fact that we are kind of like owned and led by utilities, makes it a little bit easier because we come with a big bonus of credibility and trust, because we are not, some anonymous company that nobody understands, also from a background perspective. But it's still very hard work, and this culture of innovation, the attitude, also talking to startups or talking to scale-ups. We are a scale-up, and go beyond what I call innovation theater. I mean, that is a crucial challenge for all of us. And the only solution for this challenge and problem is hard work every day, being persistent, joining organizations like EURELECTRIC to spread the message further.
So let's stay open-minded.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And
Thank you, Florian.
greetings to Rome and Epri and everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Thank you so much.